Like and subscribe right now, or this spider will crawl on your face when you're sleeping. Work days are always hard, but for some people, on some days, those tedious tasks become the hardest to perform. I don't know what possesses those people and where they leave their brains when they come to work, but I do have a list of the most ridiculous blunders by workers that were caught on camera. These guys successfully laid the foundation of the house, but there was just one twist. It kind of broke into pieces. I don't know what happened next, but they were surely fired even before the fall. A slight turn, and that's all. Except for the time when... That's just not all. This guy had it all sorted out until he opened the truck's door. There it was, the flood of cans coming out of it. Legend has it, they're still cleaning the mess on the road. Okay, I really feel for this one. This guy successfully managed to layer the concrete. He had only one task left when the unexpected fall happened. And there's no need to mention the details of the Great Fall. It always sounds good inside the head until you decide to do it. Just like these guys did when they attached the heaviest thing possible to a crane and consider the job done. But there was only one problem, which eventually failed the idea: the weight of the crane. This guy accidentally hit a little too hard with the rod and instantly bore the consequences of his wrong move. I believe he's still there trying to halt the flood of fish. Now this is what we call an expensive failure, and that's why you should hire the men who really know their job. Thankfully, no one was hurt during the accident. This guy lost control of the water hose and provided us with an amusing sight when he soaked his co-workers. Now, I'm not sure if I'm right, but apparently the guy on the front came with the intention to break the refrigerator. And he did. Yeah, the refrigerator broke, but some dance moves will fix it all. The guy overestimated his capacity to hold on to the pallet jack. The jack was clearly heavier than he expected it to be and launched the guy in the air. The aim was to demolish only 4 of them, but things went a little off the track. So this is what happens when you get more than you want. The crane operator misunderstood the assignment when the worker asked him to drop. Tied with the rope, only the pillar on the left was supposed to fall. But there was a last-moment change of things, and the entire structure collapsed. Well, that is one smooth landing the guy had. I'm not sure if you noticed this, but this forklifter came with one and only one intention, and that was to turn the warehouse into a disaster. Well, we can say that he pretty much succeeded. These workers decided to lift up an excavator, but overlooked its weight. I can tell they regretted their decision instantly. It took hours to arrange those carts in the car, and moments to destroy that effort. This guy was not done when the driver accelerated the truck, and you already know what happened next. This man had it all planned except for the tree. It was apparently too strong for the rope and crashed right onto the house. It was after the duo had layered the track, they noticed a small hole left in the middle. There was another way, but it was enough for the man, so he found a better solution. Let me show you the journey of the heavy excavator turning into a tiny, bouncy truck. It literally had no weight of its own. Now this is one dedicated worker who, despite the circumstances, is still doing his duty. Let his task be a mystery for the viewers. These guys dared to slide down a concrete pipe down the slope. They tied it with a rope and had it all figured out, except for the fall. Because that was the trickiest part. The guy was trying to do the right thing, but the pole let him down. It was only some moments later when he climbed the ladder that the rusted pole broke, but he got lucky and made a successful jump to save himself. These are the final moments of the guy before he got fired. Okay, so this is not some sort of celebration that's happening in the factory, but actually the pyrotechnic company caught fire. And there they are, free fireworks for the residents. In case you're wondering, they were actually there to replace the clock, but the crane operator dropped it a little too early. This is why laying a strong base is important when dealing with concrete.
Give it a quick nudge. Just give the alarm box a nudge. What are you doing? Oh my God!
Only if the guy had paid a quarter price of the car to the delivery guys, this would not have happened. Oh! This is how I try to fix my problems, and that's about how they end up. The logger miscalculated the height of the tree and its distance from the car. And here is the epic work failure for you guys. Working hard is the only thing they know, even if it means to not use the smart part of their brain. So this is what it feels like when you're torn between your mind and a heart. This guy was in a serious situation when he could not decide which way he should go. It was after they hit a few cars, he had it all sorted out. There's no need to go into the details here. The truck was on the highway, the driver lost control, and boom! Here we are. This is what we call a warehouse catastrophe. Either it was a failed attempt to triple stack, or it was just a failed attempt. I mean, there's literally no explanation. Here's another failure from the warehouse world. Epic. Okay, let's be honest. We all had anticipated this ending, didn't we? This dude really played with his life when he held onto that wood, but luckily survived the fall.
Leave and ask me how my leg.
I just have one question to ask. Where exactly were they trying to place the glass? In case you're wondering, the excavator was not supposed to drop the rock over that car. Like I said before, there's going to be a lot of broken glass on the street. This is exactly what happens when you don't consider the consequences in the beginning. 1, 2, 3. There you go. In his defense, he did not have any idea that the camera was there. I really like how the guy is asking them to stay away, as if he already knew that he was going to mess it up. This CNC worker turned on the coolant machine and forgot that it doesn't actually work. It took him an eternity to realize there's a leak inside. Well, you know better how things would have turned out for him. It takes only seconds to turn a successful jump into a horrendous fall into the mud. With no bar in the footing, the column was supposed to fall. But there's just one confusion. What was the purpose of the man in the business suit being there? These guys had only one job, and that was not to break the glass at any cost. I just have one piece of advice for you guys. Next time you walk down a street, don't look for cars, look for falling glasses too. This dude literally had no idea what he was dealing with and got his head trapped. If it was not for the other guy saving him on time, who knows what would have happened? Wait, how was this even a failure? I mean, what else was the guy expecting to come out from the engine? I know it's nobody's fault, but the guy on the left already knew how things are going to end. Watch how quickly he jumped on the side while the other dude was still trying to digest what just happened. This has to be the most epic warehouse failure. It took a single hit from the work lift to turn it into a disaster. Here's a visual representation of what it looks like to think outside of the box during work. Not to mention the energy the guy on the left is working with. Now, I'm not sure what to call it exactly, failure or stupidity. I mean, why did he go there in the first place? One thing at a time. But this was apparently too hard for the man to decide. He was loading a boat when the forklift broke and doubled his work. He eventually worked out the things, but it was a little too late. This guy had no idea he was leaving his footprints in a way that no one could ever follow them. It was after he almost tripped on the paint-filled floor that he realized what just happened. I can tell it was his first day on the job. This guy covered half of the distance when he noticed the leak. Surprised at the sight, it was the only solution he could come up with. He continued the efforts to stop the leak until the driver realized that there's a problem and stopped the vehicle. Was it the truck that sped up, or the guy who slowed down to get a shower from the grass? I think it's the other way around. This is what happens when you hire the lowest bidder. The truck driver was asked to do one thing, but he clearly misunderstood the assignment. And, well, the results are right in front of you. That's why you should know when to stop. This guy had no idea that he overfilled until there was a boom in the air and he was lying on the ground. Okay, so, what was the end goal, really? These guys made a strong concrete wall, or at least this was what they thought of it, but this dude had some other plans. And the fact that they all just stood there with no movement explains it all. A slight movement, and this near miss would have ended up in the worst way possible. Don't blame the driver, he just could not see the shade standing in his way. Even when he did, he couldn't.
Watch the pole, watch the pole.
These workers were busy doing their work when the car just decided to give them a surprise. Okay, it was not the car, but the guy who lifted it a little too much. They tried their best to stop it, but their efforts were in vain. It was just a little steep, but the guy just couldn't manage it with all the crates in his hands. Although the fall was inevitable, I really wish the lady would have been a bit more kind to the guy on the floor. It was a usual day in the aluminum work factory when suddenly a fire broke out. The workers tried to deal with it, but considering the extremity of the leakage, they escaped from there. It was only after a few moments that the grand explosion happened. Luckily, no one was injured in the accident. A smile goes a long way, but not for this guy who bumped into another vehicle for smiling. This poor delivery guy had dogs chasing him all the way on the street. Apparently that crash landing gave him some sort of powers to deal with them, and now it was the other way around. Someone will be doing extra hours at work today. This guy overfilled the skid steer and realized it a little too late.
Oh my god!
Well, the skid steer usually loses control once it's filled, so we know it's not the guy's fault completely. This forklift worker knew that it's not going to end well, but he took the risk anyway, which was not a success, by the way. This guy opened the Pandora's box in the back of the van, but this time it was paint that came out of it. Okay, he actually slipped and accidentally did this to himself. The guy was stacking the egg pallets peacefully, but the eggs had other plans. The dude is actually quite lucky, as he barely missed bumping his head on the wheels. The video only emphasizes on the importance of shutters on the loading truck, and that's all. Now, this is something that we don't see every day. I'm sure the operators are having a quit before fired moment somewhere. This guy spent the first 15 minutes stacking the delivery boxes, and the rest of his life regretting missing that step. The guy seemed to be in such a hurry that he forgot to pull the brakes. Well, nothing could have prevented the crash. Years have passed, but this guy is still on the chase. I did not expect something like this to happen with the Army guys, but failures can happen anywhere, and this tanker was clearly not up for the ride. Okay, that was a quick turn of events. I really hope the man's doing good. It was definitely not a good day for the guy to live stream. These guys had the perfect idea to attach the brick pallet to the excavator. But guess what? It just never works. The crane operator knew he messed it up, but wanted to try his luck. Well, what else did you expect if not this? Not sure what happened next, but he knows who to trust from now on. You mean this is a failure? And they didn't drop it on purpose? His reaction explains it all. Not a workday failure, but I must say it was a bad day for the guy.
Well, I do not.
This guy just wanted to fix the exhaust when it let out all the dirt right on his face and left him stunned.
Hold on to that ladder.
These guys had the worst day possible at work. They were just finishing their day when the unexpected happened. It was probably because they rushed it, but while they were pouring cement, the base somehow broke and led to the ultimate workday disaster. And then there's this guy who wanted to turn his day into a tragedy. When everything goes right, you must watch out for the flies around you.
Right over there.
I don't.
Because I'm telling you, they've got a thing for cemented floors. This dude has accepted that nothing will ever work out good for him. No, it was not the guy, but the crane, which they wanted to lift on the truck. You can turn down every difficulty that comes your way, but not a rooster when it's decided to interrupt.
Come on.
And if by chance you've managed to deal with the rooster, there will be a dog prepared to ruin your workday. Nothing can beat this guy grooving in the dirt. And now, let us move on to our subscriber pick of the day. This image was sent to us by one of our subscribers. Similarly, if you ever wish to know more about an image you come across, just send it on over to us. Who knows, we might even feature it in one of our videos. Sometimes going to any extent to get the job done. Just like here, when the guy risked his life to destroy the top of an old building. The operators often mess it up badly. The worker here was supposed to demolish only one of the old buildings, and while he successfully destroyed one of them, he made only one mistake, and that was to overlook the building present at a small distance. But it was too late to do anything, and, well, you already know what happened. See you next time.